Time you take a fucking breath, you owe me. That thing I spared you from, I can give it back anytime I want.
Let's have some Bible. I know I'm late to the party on this Landman episode, but I do thank all of you for sticking around with me so far. Things for Tommy just do not seem to get any better. If anything went good for Tommy, we would be wondering what Taylor Sheridan was thinking. We learned that his dad's an asshole, his mom is dead, and his son's in deep with a loan shark now who almost killed him. Typical Tommy Norris behavior, right? Right, Tommy Norris is now going to be dealing with a lot more things when all of a sudden he has a late dinner party, but we're going to get to that in a minute. He still needs to address some issues with Cooper as well. But what's going to be happening when all of a sudden things in the beginning are not always going to be what they appear? Things with late dinner parties, bad meetings, money laundering issues, and a potential to have your whole business destroyed. But before any of that tomfoolery decides to start, you're going to be opening up this episode with some people going down for a little bit of a hunt. But it turns out more than a few things are going to be going down. We're probably going to blame this stuff on a certain kind of virus, huh? But then this is actually going to be caused by a certain kind of hydrogen and a special kind of acid as well that's going to be leaking from the spout. And that shit is deadly as fuck. But the rest of the guys, once they're able to find out what happens, are able to have their monitors go off on their uniforms and they know need to get the hell out of there. But will all of them escape? The only thing that we're going to be trying to escape right now is Ariana, who is able to live on her own now after not being with Cooper anymore. She needs money. She needs a source of income. But how is Ariana going to do with this? This is not something she's always going to be used to, dealing with these rich oil fatigues. But once one rich oil asshole decides to take things a little bit too far, she decides to give him a piece of her mind. But someone who's not going to be getting a piece of mind is Tommy, because his wife decided to go on her own looking at a house. She sees the new money that her husband is making and now wants a bigger, more beautiful house. Shocking, I know. I'm sure after you saw the thumbnail and if you saw the episode, you know why Tommy sticked around with her. But one thing that's not going to be sticking around is the money that Monty had in his business for the trust funds. Sure, the girls and his wife are supposed to be taken care of, but it is bleeding money. Monty, who's supposed to be a multi-billionaire, was not always good with his assets, as it would seem. Does Demi Moore age at all? Jesus Christ. But one thing they're going to be able to do is track down the one accountant who's in charge of the distribution of all the MTX assets. And if you know anything about Tommy and everyone else there, they're going to have a nice, respectful, quiet conversation until he decides to beat him over the head with a beer bottle.
Fucking whoops.
After Tommy decides to have a nice, quiet, peaceful protest of a conversation, I think the guy finally gets his point across. But these are the things that we've always seen with Tommy. He needs to know where the assets are, why the money is being bled out, and why the distribution of all these accounts are working. But things go horribly awry now. All Tommy wants to do is leave, but instead he's got to deal with this asshole again. All Tommy wants to do is leave, but of course his wife has a great ability to just show up and make things worse. But now the meeting of the minds have started, and now his wife is there, and of course the pumpkin spice is just flowing out of these two like they're best friends from sorority college. And let's face it, we knew what they were doing in college. What is she going to do now? She is not over the death of her late husband. She's having hard times even processing it. What do you expect this woman to do? What do you expect anyone to do when your late husband is gone? The company that you now inherited left with is bleeding millions of dollars. You have the attention of millions of people now, everyone working for you, trying to figure out if somebody's going to be betraying you or if you can make a potentially savvy business call. These are things that Landman is still continuing to show us. I would like to say that Landman Season 2 is still off to a very good start. At this point, though, I do have to say they do need to spice things up a little bit more with some of the story that we're seeing. Season 1 at this point was great. It was absolutely incredible and great cinema. Season 2 is off to a good start still, but it's having a hard time finding the magic that was Season 1. I think that we still just need to give this a little bit more time, and even though I am enjoying thoroughly what I'm seeing so far, what we're seeing about the business of the oil industry, that's probably one of the most interesting parts I've seen alone. Let me know in the comment section below, what are you thinking of Landman Season 2 so far? Are you enjoying this or Season 1 more? If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you did enjoy this video, I thank you all so much for watching. And, as always, until we meet again.